Well, I don't want to lie. I don't want to.
Answer should be D. Answer should be A. Answer should be D. Yes, Smollett, Ramey, Johnson, Sanders. Field, Stafford, Moore, Haley. And Salyers. Alright. That's it. Numbers today are 3, 9, 12, 14, and 20. Time for the homework check. We have 2 homework checks today. The first one will be from Friday, and the second one is from yesterday. Friday's homework is 6 out of 11, and that's going to be 55%. For Monday, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one is 7 out of 11, and that would be 64%. The objective today is to simplify radical expressions. It'll be a review, since it's been about 3 or 4 days since we've done this. Flashcards. When you think you know the answer, just say it out loud. Four square root of 2. 8 square root of 3. 12 square root of 6. 40. 24 square root of 5. 16. 15. 20 square root of 7. 18. 24 square root of 3. Here's example 1. As a refresher, if you have a square root on the bottom and it's multiplied against something or by itself, then you multiply the top and the bottom by that square root. So you would have 4 square root of 2 on top and then just 2 on the bottom. 4 and 2 cancel. 2 into 4 twice, into 2 once. 2 square root of 2 over 1, and you cannot leave anything over 1. So your final answer is 2 square root of 2. Here's example 2. 3 over square root of 8. You have the option of multiplying the top and the bottom by the square root of 8 and simplifying later, or simplifying the square root of 8 now. Let's do it now, and you should know by now that the square root of 8 is 2 square root of 2. Now multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 2. You do not have to include the 2 that's on the outside of the square root. When you multiply the top, you get 3 square root of 2, and on the bottom, 2 comes from here. And then the other 2 comes from these 2 multiplied together. So you end up with 3 square root of 2 over 4. Here's the same problem, except we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 8. And when you do that, you get 3 square root of 8 over 8. But the square root of 8 has to be simplified. So the square root of 8 is 2 square root of 2. And that comes out to be 6 over the square root of 2. And then over 8. And then from there you can simplify 2 into this 3 times, into this 4 times, and then you'll have 3 square root of 2 over 4. Try this one and bring it up. On this problem, we'll multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 10 and come up with 2 square root of 10 over 10. And 2 into itself once and into 10 5 times, so you should have the square root of 10 over 5. Try this practice problem if you're finished. On the bonus, when you multiply all of these together, you get the square root of 12. Or, this times itself is simply 2. So it's 2 square root of 3, and that's what you get when you simplify the square root of 12. Try this one if you're finished with the practice problem. On this one, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 5 times square root of 6 is square root of 30, and it cannot be simplified. If you went this direction, you would have the square root of 120, and that would break up to be this as well. Try this bonus problem. This one, if you multiply these two together, you get a 2, and these two will also give you a 2. So the answer is 4. Try this one, drop it off. On the practice problem, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 5. We will get 3 square root of 5 over 5. Try this bonus if you're finished. If you multiply these two, you get 5, and these two, you get 2. This can't be simplified, so you end up with 10 square root of 6. Try this bonus problem if you're finished with the practice. On this problem, these two together will give you the square root of 16, which is 4. This is simply 2. These two together will give you the square root of 15. So your final answer should be 8 square root of 15. Try this bonus problem if you're finished with the practice. On this one, if you multiply this and then this, you get square root of 10 times square root of 10, which is simply 10. This is 2, so you have 2 times 10, square root of 8. That is 20 square root of 8, which simplifies to 20 times 2 square root of 2, which is 40 square root of 2. Answer should be A. Answer on this one should be C. Answer should be C. Answer on that one should be B. Here's example 3. You have a square root over a square root. You still follow the same steps. Square root of 3 over square root of 3 multiplied against the original problem. On the top you would get square root of 6, and on the bottom you get a 3. This cannot be simplified, and there is no fraction that can be simplified. Example 4. Square root of 8 over square root of 6. Let's simplify the top first to get 2 square root of 2, and then on the bottom keep the square root of 6. Multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 6 to get 2 square root of 12 over 6. Simplify the square root of 12. We've done that one enough to know that it comes out to be 2 square root of 3. And then simplify to get 4 square root of 3 over 6. 2 will go into 4 twice and into 6 3 times. So it's 2 square root of 3 over 3. I'm going to do the same problem a different way. I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 6 right off the bat to get square root of 48 over 6. And the square root of 48 breaks up as 16 and 3, which would be 4 square root of 3 over 6. And 2 into this twice, into that 3 times. 2 square root of 3 over 3. Try this one and bring it up. On this one, we'll break up the top as 2 square root of 3 and then multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 10 to get 2 square root of 30 over 10, which simplifies to square root of 30 over 5. Try this bonus if you're finished with the practice. If you multiply this and this, you get square root of 16, which is 4. And this times this is 6. That is a 2, so you end up with 48. Try this bonus problem. On this problem, 3, or square root of 3 times itself is just 3. This is a 3. Square root of 12. Remember that breaks up as 2 square root of 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18, so it should be 18 square root of 3. On the practice, it would be a good idea to break this up on the top and the bottom. The top will break up as 3 square root of 2, and on the bottom it'll be 2 square root of 3. Multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3 to get 3 square root of 6 over 2 times 3, which simplifies to 6 on the bottom, and the whole thing simplifies to square root of 6 over 2. Here's a bonus problem. On this one, if you go 10 times 5, you get 50, and times 2 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. This times this would give me 18, and it's going to break up as 9 and 2. So that would be 10 times 3, square root of 2, which is 30, square root of 2. Try this one. This will give you a 2, so will this and this. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. The answer is B. Answer on this one is A. Answer on this one is D. Answer on this one is B.